Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss a beautiful poem, When Great Trees Fall, written by Maya Angelou. If you notice the way the entire poem is written, it is written in such a way that it mimics the various stages of grief. So there are various stages when a person goes through grief. The first is acknowledgement that such a thing has happened. Then the person undergoes pain or regret. Then finally healing and then growth. So the different stanzas in the poem are also written in such a way. Okay, so in this poem, there are mainly five stanzas, and in the first two stanzas, that is this and this one, the poet uses evocative extended metaphor. See, I have already written all the various figure of speeches so that you can copy it into your books as you listen. Okay. So what is evocative extended metaphor? Evocative means the poem is written in such a way that it is very descriptive and elaborative. And extended metaphor means metaphor that is not only pertaining to a single line, but it follows in the subsequent lines as well. Okay. And also imagery is used here. So what is imagery? It is another figure of speech where it is elaborated in such a way that it creates a mental picture or a mental image in our minds. Okay. Also, the entire poem is written in free verse. So, free verse is a type of poem where no rhyming scheme is used in the entire poem. Okay. So, let's go through the first few lines. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Okay. So here, great trees, it's actually a metaphor for when great personality dies. So tree is personality, when great personalities, and fall means die. So here it is talking about when great personalities die. Rocks on distant hills shudder. So what does shudder means? Trembling, right? So a rock is given a person's feelings. So that is why it is called personification, where human traits are given to non-living things. Okay. So rocks on distant hills shudder means, so when a great personality dies, it sends shock waves that reverberates through the entire natural world. That's why it's saying shock, we feel a shock, right? So that is how they are saying rocks, even on really far away places, also shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. So, what are lions? Lions are considered to be a very powerful and majestic animals. So, it is known to be brave, but even such animals conceals itself in the grass. So, it is hiding or concealing itself in tall grasses, which is showing primal unease. Primal is very basic feeling. So such majestic animals are also concealing themselves in tall grasses, and elephants that are known for its size and stability. So even they look for safety. So the entire stanza depicts the magnitude of loss after the passing of a prominent personality in our life and the profound impact. Profound means deep. And the profound impact to the surrounding, like here in this case how the animals are seeking refuge, symbolizes people seeking safety and fear in the minds of people after the death of a great personality. Okay. So again, when you see the second stanza beginning when great trees fall, so if you see there's a repetition of the first line here as well. So here also great trees means great personalities die. Small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. Okay, so small creatures in the natural world are in mournful silence. And due to the enormity of the loss, They are overwhelmed with fear. So the senses are eroded beyond fear means they are overwhelmed. So in this stanza explains about the shock that people may experience during the death of a loved person. That is why they are in mournful silence and they are overwhelmed with fear. Okay, so if you see the first and the second stanza explains about the enormity of the loss, and just like how a tree falling can cause great disorder in the forest to large as well as small creatures, the death of a influential person can cause profound grief and disturbance among the people. So metaphorically it is explained. Okay, so in the next stanza you can see about pain. When great souls die, the air around us become light, rare, sterile. Okay, so here if you see, the poet is directly talking about the great soul's death. The air around us become light, rare, and sterile. So instead of using a metaphor, the poet is saying when such great souls die, the air is no longer rich and vibrant, but rather drained of spirit and becomes light. So this light, rare, and sterile is mentioned in a negative manner here. So the air is not rich. We breathe briefly, okay, and due to the crushing aftermath of the loss, breathing becomes labored. It becomes like a struggle, or it becomes difficult to get through each moment. So here, when such great personalities of our loved ones die, the air becomes negative. Our breathing is difficult. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. So with our eyes, we are able to see, or now it is apparent to us. What is apparent? Our memories suddenly sharpened. So memories have sharpened. Gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. So our memory is sharpened with agonizing nostalgia. Agonizing is painful. What is nostalgia? When we remember about past instances, we become nostalgic. So a memory is now sharp and it remembers the agonizing nostalgia. Gnaws on kind words unsaid. Gnaws means it's a khatakna. Kind words unsaid. So about the kind words that were not said to that great soul. Or promised walks not taken means it talks about the promises that were not kept. So if you see here, it is apparent that the poet wants to focus on remorse. What is remorse? Repentance. Guilt that, oh my God, I should have said kinder words or I should have kept the promises that I had told I would. So here we can see pain. Now the next stanza. When great souls die and our reality bound to them takes leave of us. Okay. So in the third stanza, the poet says, when these central figures in our lives die, the reality that is bound to them. So another word for the word bound is tethered. So our reality that is tethered to them also leaves us or disappears. Our souls dependent upon their nurture now shrink wizened. Okay. So the reality, we lose track of reality, and our souls that were mostly dependent on them upon their nurture. So what is the meaning of the word nurture? Care. So our souls were dependent upon the care of such great personalities now has shrunk or wizened. So the meaning of the word wizened is wrinkled. Okay. So our souls have now shrunk and wrinkled. Our minds formed and informed by their radiance fall away. So now without their presence and inspiration of such great souls and without their radiating influence, what happens? Our mind loses its light. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. So the poet wants to say that now, because we don't have their radiant influence, we become like lost creatures in a cold, dark cave. So here symbolism is used. So what is symbolism? Where we are compared to these animals in a dark, cold cave. Our mind is reduced to a very dark place where we feel quite disoriented. So here the entire stanza talks about how without the great presence of such people, we are in we are disoriented and how our life is feeling incomplete. In the final stanza, we can see that the poet is now talking about healing and growth. So when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms slowly and always irregularly. So finally, after the initial pain and anguish that we have gone through, with the passing of time, so after a period of time, this isn't immediately, with the passing of time, peace gradually emerges. Blooms means emerges slowly and always irregularly. Okay. So another word for the word irregular is non-linear, or you can say sporadically. Okay. So what is the poet saying that the healing is not like this, but it is more like this. It is non-linear or it is irregular. There are periods of again sadness, but still there is growth. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. So here it talks about the spaces that were or the null void that was in us. Our spirits are uplifted. Okay, so spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. So our spirits are uplifted. Our spirits are uplifted with solace, that is, with peace, and the void is filled. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us. So our senses, that we had lost our senses, right? So that is restored, but it is never like how it was before. But our senses whisper to us, they existed, we can be and be better, for they existed. Okay. So our senses are constantly reminding us, that is why it is repeating here, they existed, they existed. So our senses are reminding us of their existence and the significance of their lives. So how they motivate us to be better because they existed. So the poem ends with encouragement to the people that even if these great souls have passed away, they have existed, their legacy should continue, and we should honor them in our memories because they have existed. So let's see what the theme of the poem is. The theme revolves around the impact of loss of a loved one, the grief it causes, which is followed by acceptance and then finally healing. So, this is how a person goes through the various stages of grief. It also signifies the profound impact a person can create in the lives of others. Yes. So when someone passes away, a it creates an impact in the life of others. Not only when the person was alive, but even after their passing or even after their death, the person creates a significant impact. Also, their memories and legacies inspire people to be better individuals and live life fuller. Yes. So, this is the theme of the poem. I hope you have understood the explanation. Thank you so much.